Welcome to Coffee to Go, where we center ourselves in the scriptures, seasons, and holy days of the Christian tradition. I'm Karin Peter, here with Blake Smith, and we welcome you in the journey. Today, we are in the beginning the season of Epiphany. Today is the day of Epiphany. It is a season of light, for Epiphany is the revelation or the illumination of something. And in this case, it is the revelation that Jesus is not just for Jewish people, that Jesus is for all people, and that God in human form is revealed to the Magi, the three wise men, the three kings, whatever the terminology you use for your nativity scene. That's where we are today. It is where the astrologers or astronomers or star watchers, in some case, even magicians have been mentioned from the East, who are probably Persians, but they were Gentiles. Jesus is revealed as God's promise even to them, to all people. And so because of that, and they followed the star to find Jesus, the star is one of the main symbols for Epiphany. We also use a crown to symbolize the three kings, as we've named them in our own iteration of this story. So in early Christian practice, Christmas was not a big day. It was not celebrated as a holy day or season. Easter and Epiphany were the two main Christian observances. So you think about that. Jesus resurrected, Jesus revealed to all were the main observances for early Christians. And in many places, today, January 6th, Three Kings Day, is the big festival. It's when the presents come, not on Christmas Day. So depending where you are today listening, happy Three Kings Day. So where are we with Jesus on this Three Kings Day? Well, like I said, here's where the wise men show up. So all you purists can now move those camel figures into your nativity scene and move those three kings from across the room into that manger scene, because we now have all the players in our story. Blake?
Well, it's as I think about what you said, the purists. If anybody's wondering what you mean about purists, well, we don't have time in Coffee to Go to explain that. However, we do have an episode that you can find at faithunfilteredpodcast.org. It's one of the Percolating on Faith series. It's number 532 on Christmas with Tony and Charmaine. I say you might want to listen to that because if the nativity is a cherished part of your Christmas tradition, always do it the same way, you may not want to listen to the episode.
Yeah.
It's going to shake things up. One of the things I think they would say, first of all, is you wouldn't bring your camels to the nativity. You would probably bring it to their house, because by this time, they
were home.
They weren't in the manger anymore.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh. Every time I hear that, I go, okay, am I going to do the Mark nativity this year? But we are at Matthew, and we're in the second chapter, the 1st through the 12th verse for this year. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child who was born King of the Jews? For we observed his star in the east and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the Magi and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen in the east, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. Entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. Well, we kind of a couple weeks ago did the after of this, starting with and when they had left, right?
Yeah.
And Joseph was told to take the family and flee. But this is part of Epiphany, and Epiphany is the revelation that the promises of God, God incarnate, we talked about that also a couple weeks ago, maybe last week. Jesus is the incarnate word, the flesh to the words that have been written. And Jesus is for all people, Jew and Gentile alike. So God incarnate is revealed to those foreign astronomers, astrologers, stargazers, magicians, as you've mentioned. They've been known by a lot of things. We refer to them as kings. And he's revealed as a bright light in the heavens, bright enough, startling enough, unusual enough that they packed up and followed where it led. And this wasn't just an afternoon journey. This probably took a couple of years for them to get to where Jesus was. But it was that impactful for them that they packed up and went.
So when we talk about Jesus being revealed for all people, I want to just clarify something that popped into my brain. We're not saying that all people need to believe in Jesus to like go to heaven or be accepted by God. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that God's promises to always be with God's creation is part of the embodiment that is Jesus. And that's what's for all people, of all faith or no faith. It makes no difference. All people are part of God's promises.
Yeah, that's kind of like saying, again, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Jesus is the way that we understand God.
Yes.
We talk about Jesus as the way to God.
Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, for us, because that's our story.
Right.
But Jesus,
there are other ways.
There are other ways and other stories. Jesus is a way, the way for us as Christians to understand God. So those are just some important pieces. So thanks for that clarification as well.
Maybe Three Kings Day should be like Ecumenical Day. Because it's the day we recognize that, everybody has a different perspective. Yeah.
Right. I mean, even in Community of Christ, we have different images of God, and that is part of the beauty of who we are, to everybody to have their journey. So the wise men are wise enough to see through Herod's plans. He's not wanting to come and pay Jesus homage. I think they know enough about him and see through that. And so rather than being used as a tool for his misuse of power, they went home another way. There's so much wrapped up in that. Again, we probably don't have time to get into all of that. But when I think of the ways that the Bible and Christianity are misused for power today, Herod was not alone in his using Jesus and the information about Jesus in a nefarious way. So, so the Magi went home another way. They didn't go back to Herod. I also look at that passage, and I think I've mentioned it before in a previous years. We talked about that. There's a translation, and I wish I knew which one it was right off the top of my head. I don't remember. But it said they went home a different way was the word they used. And for me, it was they had been changed. They were different because they had experienced the presence of God. So just a way, anyway. So I really like this story, and that always comes to mind for me. So some questions that we might ask ourselves is, what kind of light would invite me to follow? And think outside the box. That may not be a physical light, but what is it that we choose to follow or would invite us to want to be curious enough to pack up and follow? Bringing gifts was a way to pay homage or to honor a child. Do the gifts I give people honor them?
So I really had to think about this because sometimes it's what's convenient or what I can't afford, but bringing gift as a way to honor. I don't think I've ever thought of it that way. So that's a good, I'm returning home by a different way, like, because that has changed my perspective.
I realized a couple weeks back before Christmas that there was an individual on the giving list that somehow got missed. And so I'm not sure that the gift was one to honor the person, but the one that could get shipped there the fastest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the last question that I would ask is, am I caught up in the diatribes and divisions and machinations of power? Am I a tool to spread hate, or am I choosing to go another way and plant seeds of goodness and kindness and compassion in my life and online communities, all the places that I interact? Those are some of those characteristics that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks of representing God's promises. So
yeah, it's a good lesson to take from this. He really wanted to use the Magi, and we get used by people in power easily. We too easily believe ridiculous things, and some of us are being used in a way that spreads division and anger and fear. So that's a good lesson from the Magi text today. So how can
how about one of our experiences?
Yeah.
Make us uncomfortable, Karin.
Yes, happily. So, you talked about going home different, being changed, and going home another way. So let us be uncomfortable this week. And so go another way. Read something out of your comfort zone, out of your normal reading material. If you always read the news from one news source, read a different one. Watch a documentary that might challenge you. Even drive a different way home that takes you through unfamiliar neighborhoods. Experience going another way. And as I say this, Blake, I'm thinking so much about when John the Baptist says, prepare the way. It's the same thing. Experience the way. The way has been prepared. Let's now experience what it is to really follow the footsteps of Jesus, in this case, in this holiday season, but in becoming different, as you said, from the experience.
All right. Go a different way. Well, this is going to come as a surprise to you, our listeners, but our blessing today comes from a very little known writer of Meta.
We're just going to start calling her MHC. That's what we're going to do.
There you go. One of our favorites, Meta Eric Carlson, and it's called Star. Blink and wait for your eyes to adjust to the night sky, the dark embrace of a universe stretching from beginning until forever. Receive the light that traveled far and long to meet your gaze in this time and place, to show you fire, dust, magic, ancient signs still coming true. The cosmos is bright for navigation and mystery. She shines as if to say every generation is worthy of light to guide us into deep love and home by another way. All right, well, thanks for being with us here today at Coffee to Go. And as always, we invite you to join us next time for the next part of our journey through the liturgical seasons and holy days of the Christian tradition.